Dr. Kamal Deep Peter is a champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She has over 40 years of experience as an educator and CSR professional, and her work has revolved mainly around making a difference and transforming lives. Here, there is no one fit formula for all because there are different needs for every individual with different abilities which have to be met. We'll be talking to her about the lovely and interesting work that she is doing with individuals and various organizations. She is also the recipient of numerous awards, including the Manthan Award for developing the best digital content by UNDP, the Rashtriya Samaj Seva Ratna in 2020, the National Women's Excellence Awards in 2020, and numerous others. Namaste, hello and welcome. Welcome today. Dr. Kamal Deep Peter is with us on this special episode of Extraordinary Tales. And here, Kamal, we're going to speak about your experience with different organizations, the volunteering work that you do, the other inspirational work that you do. I'm going to start because we have spoken earlier, so I'm going to start with your project called Discovering Hands. You are an ambassador of the Discovering Hands project, which involves visually impaired girls, helping them to become certified medical tactile examiners. Now, can you please explain to us what this term is and what is it that these girls do and how are you helping them?
Yes, Discovering Hands project is indeed a very powerful project. And it's empowering, as you mentioned, girls with visual impairment to get skilled and become medical tactile examiners and become a part of the cancer care teams in various hospitals. Mm-hmm. It's a project of empowering, those people who are specially abled or disabled and integrating them into mainstream society. Well, DE&I, diversity, equity, and inclusion is such a big buzzword today. Right. To me, it can't remain at the superficial level. Diversity can be, the number of people, something which is countable in terms of age diversity, racial, ethnic, or sexual orientation. But what happens to inclusion? Inclusion can be only, felt when there is an integration and there is an impact. This program of Discovering Hands started in Germany by a gynecologist, Frank Hoffmann, where he offered services of screening women for early signs of breast cancer. He was not happy with the time he devoted because breast cancer actually is something that shows up with a lot of abnormalities developing in the breast. So one fine day, he got a creative idea and he said, how can I offer some better services? So he thought of the visually impaired. And as it is said that those who lose one of their senses or one of their senses is numbed, then the brain responds faster to the other sense. Right. So here, when you're visually impaired and your visual communication is not there for the brain to, process, then your tactile sense, your sense of touch becomes very sharp. And the visually impaired girls have this sharpened tactile strength. And today it's a 9 months rigorous course. And I really advocate this as a great example of being, fair and just and giving dignity of life to the visually impaired. A girl who takes up this course is not just learning how to palpate the breast. She actually they go through before the 9 months course starts, a 3 months course on, accessibility, how to move about independently. Then once they're absorbed in the course, they learn about breast anatomy, physiology, different types of cancer, social interaction with the patient. And above all, it's just amazing when you see them in action, the digital fluency. They're absolutely made independent. I've spent time with them. I've seen them at work.
Yes.
And I've seen the focus they have, the communication skills they develop, and how scientifically they do it. They divide the breast into 4 quadrants using the braille tape. And then centimeter by centimeter, they palpate the entire breast below your underarms, in your neck, to see if there is even a small growth. And it is said that something as small as 0.5 centimeters can be actually diagnosed by them. And, if they are a part of the cancer care team, and this method is non-invasive, and the screening methods of breast cancer are that from the age of 40, you go in for a mammogram.
Yes.
But those are also very expensive.
True.
So if these girls are brought into that system, I feel early diagnosis will be a reality. And when it's early diagnosis, it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Breast cancer becomes treatable.
Absolutely. And I know this because I know you're a breast cancer survivor yourself. So what kind of an impact has this project had so far? I mean, the penetration, or how have the oncologists responded to this along with the hospitals?
Well, that's a very good question, Ami. I think we're looking for partners in faith.
Okay.
Its integration is presently a challenge which we can't shy away from. The entire society is so built that it supports able-bodied people, ableism, and we all come with a set of, I can say, myths, some baggage on what people can do. If it's a person who's visually impaired, there's not enough clinical data for the oncologists, to build their trust and faith in this medical practice.
Yes.
2017, it came first to India. And I think the training at Bangalore, where I got associated with, started in 2019, and then the COVID came. Yeah.
Right.
And about 14 MTEs, medical tactile examiners, are there in India. And many of them are not actively practicing because the COVID, actually sent many of them home.
True.
And once they are back home, they are either confined to their home or domestic responsibilities. They have not returned. And those who have and who are in the stream now have tested about 6,000 women. And the good news is, yes. And the good news is the diagnostic accuracy has been found to be comparable to what a physician or an oncologist would do. But when you go and talk to the doctors, they are happy, they are impressed, they appreciate, but getting it into the system, they have their own set of challenges. They think of, how would the place be accessible? Would they be able to move about independently? Whether it's going to be a logistical burden. And at the same time, there are, as I said, a lot of mind bugs which are prevalent. Because we equate, being able means you're enabled, but it's not a fact. And I think the biggest disability that's actually in our system today is not to look beyond the, small inability, which I said, sometimes transforms or manifests in becoming a special ability. So unless we look at these MTs as a specialized pool of talent and become cheerleaders for what they do,
right,
I am rather skeptical about if there's a continuous problem of absorbing them into the medical system. This program may not find a lot of champions, or we would be just taking the girls back into that vicious circle of despondency, where they give up on what they are able to do, but society is not able to give them a chance. We are such an impatient
Oh, yes.
society that we think the moment someone joins us, they should be absolutely productive.
Right. That I agree. But then, so when you say there are only 14, 1/4 is what I get. Am I correct? There are only
Yes.
14 such MTEs in India today. Are
In
they
India today.
specifically in one area or location, or they're spread out across the country?
Actually, the program started in the NCR region. So they are in
Right.
NCR and presently in Bangalore.
Okay.
And I was associated with the first batch of, visually impaired girls being trained by Enable India, an NGO,
Mhm.
which is headquartered at Bangalore. And I interacted with them, telling them how they need to connect with the emotions of a cancer patient and what is the emotional journey they go through, so that they become more patient centric in their interactions, answered them a lot of their doubts. But I saw when they graduated and they were ready to take up internship, there was only one hospital and one oncologist in Bangalore who was ready to take them for an internship. And the sad thing is, the narrative about disability is all about charity,
I know
or
what you're saying. Yes.
about,
Yes, I know
yes,
where that
or
feeling is.
about sympathy.
Yes, yes.
Uh, but I don't see that why they cannot recognize the specialized skill set that these girls bring, these women bring. If you are ready to pay an electrician, a plumber, or even someone who is repairing our automobiles, or go to a beauty parlor for, a specialized, skilled face massage or something, these girls have their skills. What is stopping us from accepting it? Why can't we be cheerleaders?
No, absolutely. So okay, I just wanted to ask you. So just now, as you said, it's in NCR and Bangalore. Um, so if more of these girls are to be trained, and just a thought, you have camps? If oncologists and hospitals are still not ready in terms of mindset, can we not have some camps outside which could be supported by oncologists? Let's say they have, a problem with, because I feel this is, the situation with breast cancer is really quite pathetic. In the sense pathetic, when I say it's really rising exponentially, I think. And the earlier it is detected, yes, the better it is. So can something like
Yeah,
this be worked out? I mean, I don't know, it's just a thought.
yeah, it's actually a community health program. So I think there will be easier acceptance when you go for these screening camps. I know there are a lot of NGOs like the Indian Cancer Society. They organize camps for the for screening women, and actually to make women aware that they need to be proactive about their health. So
Right.
yes, in screening camps they should be there. Officers should call them, corporates should call, ask their women to undergo, this.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good way of doing this.
Yes. And there is a lot of scope. It's only that I think everyone is waiting for
Someone
the
else to do it.
data to be accumulated, someone to take the lead, and then to follow. But yes, I do agree with you that this is an important requirement.
Yes, because if it can't happen directly the way we think it should, perhaps then we can look at, there are so many options perhaps one can explore.
Yes.
If you can't go to the girls, the girls can be brought, yes, as you said rightly, to the offices for screening camps. Because I think this situation is getting a little out of hand, I think, as far as breast cancer is concerned.
Yes,
My
and
personal feeling, I
healthcare.
don't have, yes, I don't have statistics, but this is what I keep hearing.
Yeah, there's a lot of inequity in health opportunities. So I think, as you said, the girls can be brought to the camp. They can be
Absolutely.
introduced to those
Absolutely.
who come. And personally, I believe this will be accelerated if oncologists start
Yes.
speaking on the value add these girls are doing. And telling them that their results are as comparable, they are as accurate for any suspicion with specificity in the location in the breast.
Right.
And I know a lot of research is going on to map, mammogram, ultrasound one side, and girls doing this, and they are even working out to see whether they are very specific at the location where they found an abnormality or small growth.
Right.
Because women present themselves to doctors when the lump is very big and palpable.
True.
Whereas if this is examined, by the MTEs and they find a small change, I think stage 1, stage 2 cancer is so easily treatable.
Yes.
And the toxicity of chemotherapy, and you can say the continuous visit to hospitals for radiation, everything, can be removed, because maybe
Early
the
detection.
treatment would be
Yes.
limited only to a surgery. And many times, these lesions or growth need not actually mean it's cancer.
True.
It's only that when you go to a health practitioner, and here it should only be an oncologist and preferably a breast oncologist, but we don't find them everywhere in the country.
True. True.
So the time you lose in diagnosing a disease can be greatly reduced.
So tell me, what inspired you to start this? How did you get on?
Well, I must tell you, I myself, supposed to be an educated and an informed woman, was fearing cancer, because I was kind of a caretaker for 2 of my colleagues, and unfortunately, they lost their battle to breast cancer. So I thought breast cancer is fatal. I did see a lump coming and going, but I attributed it to menopausal changes.
Okay.
And then I realized that ignorance is the biggest disease. I didn't know what is metastatic cancer. I didn't know that cancer can spread. All that remained with me was cancer is terrible. The family spends a lot of money.
Yes.
In the end, it's a lost battle, and that's why I didn't share this with anyone.
Oh.
But when I started getting treated, I remember I was diagnosed in stage 3. And most of the breast cancer cases today, breast cancer is I think, taking number 1 position in the forms of malignancy.
Yes.
And many women are succumbing to it, especially in India, because 60% of the women go to a doctor when they are in stage 3 or stage 4. And in stage 4, generally, it has left the place of origin, your primary site, spread to various parts. And then the outcome of this is very unpredictable. So I thought it's time for me to spread awareness. And the most important thing I want to tell, through my work in breast cancer awareness, is a closure to fear.
Absolutely.
Fear is not going to solve the problem, because there is a new era. We are in a new era of cancer treatment.
True.
And early diagnosis can really help you lead a normal life, and you need not actually own the disease after you have been treated. Otherwise, sometimes there is a tendency, that, oh, I'm a cancer survivor. But then if you come early to a doctor, your prognosis is better, you're more treatable, and you can be free of this disease. And women, would they ever go to a doctor on their own? Never.
No, still not. So
Will they
I
ever
resonate with you, because somewhere that is a problem. Fear is so huge that I think I live with that fear, but I just won't go once and
Yeah. And for us, everything in the world is more important,
oh yes, except our body and our health.
except our own health. And then, I found that there is no open conversation in homes. There's a lot of sexuality attached to the word breast.
Right.
And there are a lot of myths and stigmas that are associated with cancer and, of course, breast cancer. So there's a lot that you need to do. And that's why, besides working with the doctors on this awareness, going, you intentionally calling up colleges and
Yes.
offices,
Yes.
and we ask them, can we organize a session for you on breast cancer awareness? And most of the time they'll say, ma'am, shall we connect you to the woman empowerment cell at our college? And it's like sometimes so compartmentalized, but we want conversations to open up even in homes, where a husband is asking his wife, oh, okay, you are taking care, are you doing something called as breast self examination? You
Right.
are 40, can we take you for a mammogram? Or a brother asking sister if all is well, you know and do you know, I heard of this happening in my friend's family, I want to keep you safe, sister.
Mm.
So is there anything I can help you? So removing that sexuality associated with breast cancer and making conversations open in homes is the best way to protect our women. A son asking his mother, Mother's Day, Mom, let's go for a checkup. you
Yes.
know a woman is, after all, the fulcrum of a home. A
Absolutely.
healthy mother will make a healthy home.
That's true. That's true. Yes. Yes. Thank you for saying that. That actually makes a lot of sense, what you're saying. And I hope people uh, understand that. Thank you for listening to part 1 of this episode. We will continue our conversation with Kamal in part 2 of this episode.